The other thing as well here that I've set up is, okay, what about other integration, right? So if I click on next on create a new job, I can see here, we have a bunch of templates that we can use, and anything goes from some of the standards, so like most relevant DBT configuration that you can pick from, as well as using Turbo CI, and you can get this configuration out of the box. But also we integrate with other tools like Elementary to send alerts on the back of Elementary failures. And we also integrate with Jira, Linear, and Azure DevOps. Why this is important is that when we look at ticketing, again, part of managing errors in our pipeline, we can set up Jira or Linear or Azure to receive an event and create a Jira ticket or Linear issue every single time there is a job failing, or for certain type of schedules that we want to send that. We also integrate with Census and HighTouch trigger sync. We can trigger Hex project refreshes, as well as we can now create instant directly within Bolt. So if you are using Incident.io or PagerDuty or Datadog or Rootly or even New Relic, you can actually send additional metadata and logs to the system every time there is the super critical Bolt job that might be erroring out in here. So all this is, I think it's beautiful because it doesn't require any additional setup on anyone's end. It's as simple as selecting what kind of integration you want to set up, providing an account ID in this case, or an API key, or if we are using Linear, for example, is providing a team name or an API key. That's all that is required for having Bolt and fully integrates within your system there. I think I'll go back now to Bolt here. When we are creating schedules, we have the ability to actually add a lot more than just DBT commands. So we talked already about Python, but we can see here we have a few more, right? We have the ability to run Power BI dataset or refresh Tableau workbooks. Again, usually after a DBT run is completed, there's some post-processing, some additional integration that needs to fire. You can now manage all of those within Paradime, and it's as simple as providing a workbook name in here and press the save command. I'm running Yasin workbook here. I can run it as a schedule if I want to. I can run this on completion of another job that is running somewhere else. I can choose all this configuration around when do I want this to execute and based on which context. I can add here like my Tableau refresh command and press deploy. And now we can actually chain all our transformation in one single place, right? So we can go from triggering a DBT job and then triggers a Tableau workspace refresh, or you can trigger a Power BI as well refresh. So all these things, they're now all completely chained within Paradime, which makes it a lot powerful for managing those sort of pipeline in one single place. Now, if I go here, I can see that we are running a bunch of things, and we also just triggered our Tableau refresh. So now we can make sure that as soon as the DBT pipeline completes, we can provide fresh data to the end users that are using those Tableau dashboard, which is super powerful. The other thing, which is more around how do we manage integration, I think Costa mentioned earlier around, we have the UI base, which is what we've been using so far to set up this job. But if I want to go and, for example, set this as a YAML base or a code base, we already give you the pre-generated code for you to lift and shift. So every time you're creating a job, you can then choose to just see what the YAML-based construct look like, how it is configured, how it is set up for all the different combination of things that we support here, and use this inside your DBT repository itself. So you can just add a file which contains this configuration, and then Paradime will make sure that those configurations are deployed within the Paradime Bolt orchestrator. Again, this is super powerful and useful if you want to make sure that your jobs are correctly tracked and you have PR review in process every time there are changes in there. Of course, we support Airflow and Python and CLI and SDKs. All those things are readily available for user to pick and shift and work with that. The other last two things I want to show you now is around, okay, how does a Jira ticket look like, right? So something has failed, something is broken. How do we actually go and see what this integration looks like in products? Just gonna go ahead and now share my other tab here. Got one prepared for us. Okay, perfect, yeah. So this is as simple as this, right? So I didn't have to define anything of all this configuration. I just have to set up my API keys. And now every time there's a job that is running and fails within Bolt, we automatically create this ticket with some relevant information and details around how to better work with those failures and how to handle those in a certain sequence. So not anymore having to think about, oh, I need to create a ticket for the failure, and I need to add some information and metadata to it, so then somebody else within the team can pick it up. This can actually happen automatically as part of the sequence.